What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Pillow Talk with Paul Goneau. Today, my guest is photographer and cook, Aadan Joly.
Howdy, how's it going? Happy to be here.
It's going good, man. I feel like a couple shows ago, the last one that Hannah came to, okay, we were like talking, and that was like when I found out you worked in the culinary industry. You worked at a restaurant, and I mean, up until that, we had been like kind of doing some work together for like over half a year.
Oh yeah, I guess it would
I feel
be.
like it's been a bit.
About half a year. Yeah, time just flies by pretty much. But yeah, I guess it would have to be about half a year.
And I realized I didn't know a lot about you, bro.
Fair enough.
So I wanted to get you on here and kind of learn a little about Aadan, because usually when we're interacting, it's like we're at a show, like we first met at a Battle Arts event.
Rising Stars, right?
Yeah. It was like the first event I was reffing for them. And I met you there, and it just so happened like I had my original photographer for the show was going back to like school, and I needed someone. And I'm always just like a fan of anybody that's really kind of out there just doing what they like to do and pursuing that, And so that's how we kind of linked up, and I'm super glad we met. Is wrestling something that you're into too, or was that just kind of like a job to you? Are you a wrestling fan? Because I know Hannah is.
It was sort of a thing that I kind of fell into. Like, yes, it did start at kind of as not necessarily just a job, because I do enjoy wrestling a lot.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to put a lot of investment into it, but like I do enjoy it a lot. Like the story, the physicality of everything. It's like ultimate improv. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
With a little bit of
like death-defying like moves.
Exactly, right? Like the thing is, like, who cannot not like that? Wait, does that work? Anyways, like, it's like
I know what you mean.
Impossible not to like it on a certain amount. Like, yeah, I'm not die hard, but I can definitely kind of hold a conversation a little bit. I watch all the same events that Hannah does and all that kind of stuff, so I can kind of hold my own end of conversation, but not too much into it.
Oh, okay. My girlfriend's coming around. She likes going to the live shows.
Oh, they're so
amazing. She doesn't really like watching it.
Yeah.
When it's on, like, I don't know, Dynamite or whatever I'm watching. She doesn't really watch it with me. Do you guys get Forbidden Door tickets?
Hannah and Piper did.
Okay.
They were a little bit too pricey for me.
Yeah.
But, oh my god, like, to be... like, from what I've been told about it by Hannah, is like it's a piece of wrestling history. It's the biggest event to be in Canada, right? Pretty much in regards to AEW.
It's gotta be up there.
Yeah, right?
AEW for sure. Yeah.
So, like, I'm really excited to hear about, like, what happens there and all that kind of stuff. But, the tickets can get a little bit pricey and all that kind of stuff, and I'm not made of money, so to speak. So,
no, man. I can appreciate that, dude.
Yeah.
I've missed plenty of concerts, because I'm like, I would have loved to have gone to the Blink reunion show.
Oh my god.
I would have loved to. But like I just don't have money like
exactly,
that. I actually paid less for Forbidden Door, and yet like I didn't get to go to Dynamite, right? I would say Rampage is like it's Dynamite then Rampage. With pay-per-views always being like the top tier type stuff. And I paid less for this than I did for Rampage, bro.
Jeez. Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think I'm a little closer.
That's gonna be fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be nice, man. It's gonna be nice.
I'm like at the house show level of enjoying wrestling. Like if AEW or WWE is in town, I'll go to a house show of theirs, because I do love the characters and everything like that. But I can't pay the pay-per-view prices.
This is my first pay-per-view that I've ever been to, man. I went to a Raw, like, way back. Like, how old are you, Aadan?
I am 20.
Okay, yeah. So, I went to a Raw in, like, the late 90s. I want to say the late 90s. I'm not 100%. Someone else watching might be like, hey, it's not. It's early 2000s.
Like,
but,
Attitude Era, I guess?
The Brood was around.
Oh,
it was Edge and Christian. They were both in WWF. It was called WWF at the time. And Gangrel. And they were, like, this kind of, like, vampire... like trio squad.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and like the Blue Meanie was kind of like around. It was that era of thing, and that was just like a Raw, and that was really cool. But this is probably the biggest thing I've ever been to, and I've been a wrestling fan my whole life, man.
That's gonna be so exciting. Did you actually were you able to catch WrestleMania?
Oh, short answer, no. I didn't see it.
Oh my god, man.
But I know some results, and I've seen some of the matches.
Yeah.
Since. Mm-hmm. But I didn't watch it live.
Did you see the big one?
The Cody Rhodes?
Yeah.
Is that the big one?
Yeah.
I imagine that was the big one. That was the big one for me.
Yeah.
That was the one I cared about the most. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about that?
A little bit infuriating. I'm not as angry about it as Hannah is.
Yeah, I get it. I'm a little mad about it too.
Yeah. For those listening, Hannah is my my girlfriend and everything like that, and mutual friends. All that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And also the wrestler.
Yeah, of course, yeah. And massive wrestling fan. When what happened, I don't know if we want to do too many spoilers.
It. Cody Rhodes lost?
Yeah. Some extravagant language was used when that happened when we were watching it live.
Oh, yeah.
We had friends over and everything like that, so it was just a big brouhaha, so to speak.
Okay. Yeah, it's pretty... And, man, on one hand, I just wish WWE would give the fans kind of what they want.
Yeah, like, just a little bit of fan service,
I do,
please.
Yes,
you know?
But on the other hand, I'm like, well, he did kind of leave.
Yeah.
And, like, if I was another wrestler on the roster that had been working there, like, the whole time, maybe even there, like, when Cody originally left, and they're still there, and they're working their way up, and then Cody just pops his head up, and then he wins it right away, I would get why they might be mad about that. But honestly, I wanted him to win.
I could definitely understand the animosity on that kind of end on that a bit. But, like... There was this one thing that I saw on Twitter right after that happened, and it's like, Cody left the promotion that he helped form to go back to WWE, only to not win the... like, they probably... I would have thought that they wanted him back by saying, hey, we'll give you, the title if you come back. It'll be, like, the biggest thing ever, but...
Well, the thing I was seeing after, it's like Triple H was saying something about long-term storytelling.
Oh, okay.
Like he was quoted saying something about long-term storytelling and like relation to that.
Yeah.
It's like every time you think a story, because it was like, finish the story, Cody. That was like the whole thing. Finish the story. And he was just kind of basically saying like, the story's not done.
Well, it definitely is a plot twist.
So, definitely is, right? Definitely didn't see it coming.
That'll be interesting. And then with John Cena and everything like that in day one, did you watch that?
I didn't watch anything from day... Well, because we had the show. You were there. And like my buddy Steve was kind of watching a little bit. And so I saw a bit of the match. And I know that he lost. Yeah. But I don't know exactly, everything that went on with that.
Do you want to know?
Sure. Yeah.
Pretty much like... If you saw his entrance, it was his big comeback, right? He entered with like a bunch of kids wearing, the John Cena shirts and cheering him on and everything like that. And he runs by, high fives him, goes into the ring. There's a bit of, rough and tumble and everything like that. And then he gets punched in the balls, and it's the end of the show. Like he lost in front of all those kids that he brought out by getting punched in the balls.
Well, at least he didn't lose legitimately, I guess.
Oh, no, yeah. It was like a dirty trick type of situation.
Yeah.
So hopefully there's going to be like a comeback sort of thing for that, too. It's going to be interesting, to say the least.
It's interesting to see how he looks now. And I get he's doing... Have you seen Peacemaker? His show Peacemaker?
I really do want to watch it. I've seen like the first episode.
Yeah.
There's so many TV shows out there and everything like that. But
so many.
Yeah.
My last episode, I swear we just talked about TV shows for like an hour, because it's just... There's so many, dude. But Peacemaker is definitely... I've actually grown to like John Cena, like, as an actor.
Okay. Honestly, he has amazing comedic timing.
Yeah, he's a funny dude, and that's all I'm really looking for. I'm not trying to take him too serious. Yeah. And I like that he's done kind of like a mixture of roles. Like, he has some like kid-friendly stuff, which is still really good. And then he has, like Peacemaker and Suicide Squad type stuff, like rated R. So I think he's going to replace The Rock eventually.
Oh, no, for sure.
Because I think, like, arguably, The Rock is probably the most successful, or I don't want to say the best, because I don't necessarily think he's a strong actor, but as far as wrestlers go, like, he's the one who really kind of made it happen the most.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? He's at the top of the mountain.
Definitely, and I think, like, the WWE, like, recently has had a really good track record of the wrestlers moving over to acting, I think. Like, Dave Bautista, you got John
He's doing
Cena.
well, too.
Oh, yeah, you know, I mean, Drax in Guardians of the Galaxy, and then there was his really, really good, like, kind of smaller role that he was in Blade Runner 2049.
Okay.
Which was pretty good.
He did a like a zombie movie, a Zack Snyder zombie. Yeah. I can't remember what it's called right now.
On Netflix, right?
Yeah, that was decent. He was also in Stuber.
Oh, I've heard about Stuber.
Oh my god, that's a pretty funny movie, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Man.
So he's doing good.
Yeah, no, wrestlers so far, just like, I kind of want more of them to go into acting, because I think that with the job, you got to get the timing right, and you know, it's pretty much not all about timing, but it's a big part of wrestling, right? You know?
Oh, for sure.
You don't want to fuck up your moves and everything like that, and I think that does translate well into comedy, but acting in general, you know, you need to know when to say your line and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, no, so far, I think it's a good track record. There's been a couple that have fumbled a little bit, but yeah, no.
Outside of the wrestling world, who would you say is like an underrated actor? The most underrated actor.
Most underrated actor now. I'm very, very bad for names. But, that's a very, very hard question.
All right, I'm going.
Yeah?
Because I feel like I call any movie he's in, I don't know if I would say any movie he's in, but I've dubbed it a name. I call it the Jason Siegel effect, because I feel like anything he's in, dude, like, could be drama, comedy, whatever, dude, thriller. This dude's just killing it. Whether it's like a main role or a side role, even in How I Met Your Mother, where I would say like he was like they were like, you know, the five main people,
it was like an ensemble cast.
But I feel like he stole the show that was supposed to be about Ted, like him and Lily. I felt like they stole that show.
I admittedly do not know much about Jason Siegel, but I definitely know him from How I Met Your Mother.
Yes.
I watched that show a long, long time ago, but still some of the skits like that they did have me in tears laughing and all that kind of stuff, specifically with Lily and Marshall.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Marshall accidentally stabbing Lily when he was sword fighting with Ted, or like the whole saga with 500 Miles being stuck in his car, like the cassette tape for the song 500 Miles.
Yeah.
And all that kind of stuff, you know. Like 6-7 years on. Still pretty funny. I really do need to rewatch that show, and
it's pretty classic. I would say it's better than Friends. It's honestly one of my favorite shows of all time, straight up.
Like, definitely better than Friends. I'm not the biggest fan of Friends in general. I know it's a really, really popular show and everything like that. But of that era of sitcoms, How I Met Your Mother is definitely probably the best.
Are you a sitcom guy? Or what are you watching right now? Like, what are you into the most?
I am currently trying to make my way through The Mandalorian. That's all right. It's like the new season is one of those shows like, all right, it's a big cultural touchstone. I did enjoy the past 2 seasons, second one less so than the first, but that's pretty much always how it is. How it is. So I might as well give the third season a chance, you know? But I'd say generally I'm a sitcom guy. My favorite show of all time is MASH.
Okay.
I guess that counts as... Yeah, that is a sitcom, right?
That's amazing because, like, you're 20. That's why it's amazing.
No.
That's crazy, though.
I've been called an old soul from my friends who are the same age as me. My
nothing
parents...
wrong with that, man. Nothing wrong
with
that.
Nothing wrong with that whatsoever. If they're saying as an insult,
you know, nothing wrong.
Yeah. But, like, my dad is like a huge kind of like 70s TV fan. Like growing up, I always watched MASH, Gilligan's Island.
I love Gilligan's Island.
Oh yeah, you know I know the theme song by heart pretty much. You know, and then like, especially like, because I was a kid in the 2000s, right? So Transformers, the Tintin movie, all that kind of stuff. My dad was like, "All right, we see the trailer in the movie." Especially with the Transformers thing. I'm going to make you watch the entire original Transformers show so that you know all the context for the Transformers movie. So it was kind of like I was primed to like all this older stuff, right? So the original Transformers show, Tintin, all that kind of stuff. Real good shit.
I feel like your dad is how I'm going to be as a dad.
Honestly,
like, 'cause I already, me and my lady are already like, we haven't even. We're just like, okay, we're gonna show her Batman, Harry Potter, and I'm like, oh man, I have so much stuff from like the '90s that is just she's gonna be flooded with.
Like honestly,
it's gonna be great.
You gotta have like your own plan for media to show them. Like, okay, age 4, you get them started out like, you know, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, maybe like the original '80s cartoon.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Maybe like Batman the animated series a couple
100%,
later.
got them all.
Oh yeah, you know, like that kind of shit.
Batman Beyond is on there.
Oh my god, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's so interesting because I talked to some of my friends and I'm like, you know, what do you mean you've never seen like The Thing or like any of these kind of older horror movies and all that kind of stuff? And you know, I get that. You know, you're same thing with how like people don't really watch movies or TV shows from the '60s and all that kind of stuff, right? Just as time goes on, you get further removed from the older stuff, and you kind of get caught up in, you know, stuff from which 20 years ago and all that. It's like the cycle of nostalgia. Have you ever heard about that kind of thing?
Yeah, I feel like I'm kind of like on the other end of that right now because like new versions of things that I loved like a long time ago are coming out, and I'm like, that's not the real version, you know? And it's like people are kind of forgetting about the OG stuff. But I don't know, man. I'm happy also when like characters and things are continued for another generation, and even if I don't like it, I just, if I can see that it's making a connection with the generation, the current generation, as it did with me back then, I'm happy with that.
And then like, think about it this way too, is that it'll draw attention to the original version too, and it'll bring new people over to that.
Yeah.
Like how it happened with me with Transformers and Tintin, for example, you know?
Yeah, man.
And yeah, so it's always good. Like there are definitely pros and cons to the kind of cycle that we're in now of like recycling old media kind of.
It's a bit much right now.
Yeah.
I feel like we're stuck in a rut.
Like, we do get some like good original stuff out now.
I feel like it's mostly shows.
Yeah.
Shows are killing it more than like feature films right now.
We are definitely like in the golden age of television.
Yeah.
Where like studios are definitely investing like movie level money into kind of longer form stories, which is definitely very, very cool. As I was talking about The Mandalorian, for example, every episode is like, you know, it's movie quality special effects and all that kind of stuff, but you can definitely get burned out from that kind of stuff relatively easily. You know?
Yeah. I'm a sitcom guy too, though. Honestly, I would say more like '90s sitcoms.
Oh, okay.
Like, I don't know, Family Matters, Saved by the Bell, Fresh Prince. Fresh Prince is probably like one of my favorites.
Fresh Prince is a classic. I've definitely watched through that.
It sounds like your dad had some good taste, and he passed that along.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, no. A lot of 80s action movies too, jeez. But yeah, no. In regards to 90s sitcoms, that's kind of my blind spot. Of course, I've seen Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but like
Married with Children.
Oh no,
sadly. No. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I've tried watching Friends. That's like 90s, right? Ended in early 2000s. Like
Friends is mediocre at best. They had some funny moments, but overall, I just don't think it was like a great show.
Yeah. Then given like, admittedly, I am a sucker for Frasier. Of 90s sitcoms, it gets pretty funny. Not gonna lie. I just like the trope of like the snooty guys getting their comeuppance sometimes, but also, it's good.
I like Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Oh, I have seen clips. I have seen like little bits of episodes. It is definitely on my bucket list.
I got into that before I got into Seinfeld. True story.
Really?
Yeah. I didn't give Seinfeld a lot of credit back in the day. I was like, I feel like that's for old people. But I was just kind of dismissing it and not really paying attention. And I do still think it might be for older people. But it's still funny. He's a great writer. There's just something about his like stand-up I'm not into. Like the way it has to be his delivery, because like his jokes are like really good. But I mean, really, it's about Larry David.
Yes.
I feel like that's where the genius comes from.
I've heard things that like he was kind of really the mastermind behind all the best jokes and all that kind of stuff. The Seinfeld and everything, it's very interesting how much it became such a popular kind of cultural touchstone with sitcom comedy and all that kind of stuff. One thing that I learned recently, so Kramer was actually based off a real guy, right?
No, I didn't know.
Yeah, so Jerry Seinfeld, his neighbor was actually named Kramer.
Okay.
And they were originally, like, when they were writing the pilot, they were thinking about changing the name Kramer and everything like that. Went up and asked the original Kramer, and he's like, yeah, sure, use my name and everything like that. And this is based off like a 60 Minutes thing that I saw from the early 2000s that I saw. And the original Kramer is doing the most Kramer thing imaginable. He is doing Seinfeld tours in New York. So he rents out a bus and like, hey, come on a tour with the original Kramer, and just do it like telling us crazy stories and all that kind of stuff that they did Seinfeld episodes based off of.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
Yeah. Good for him, though. At least he could try to get some money out of it, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think that he got any residuals from that at all.
So you went to film school, dude?
Oh, it was for a semester.
All right.
What I'm about to say is really gonna date myself. But like my first semester of college was the year after COVID started, so it was all online and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of applied to the program because it was a very hands-on program, but because of the nature of the pandemic, we weren't able to do hands-on stuff, and it was all online. And I have a very big problem with keeping track with online stuff, so I had to leave. But it was
such a bummer.
Oh no, it's all good. I mean, shit happens.
Did you ever think about going back?
I've either film school or journalism school. My big thing is kind of like photojournalism, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
The definitely the end goal,
All right. So when did you start photography then?
Photography, man. I want to say when I was like 14. I didn't actually start getting paid for it until 16 or 17. I did concert photography in Ottawa. Moved over here. Tried to do concert photography, but everybody and their mother's a photographer in Toronto. Every hipster kid has a camera, right?
So many. Yeah.
So I tried to move over to other stuff. I do cosplay. Obviously, I do comedy shows with you, which is really really fun. I did wrestling photography, which is how we met.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to branch out. That kind of stuff. Yeah. Jeez.
I feel like everyone thinks they're a photographer, but there's actually very few good. I think everyone thinks it's kind of cool to be a photographer, but doesn't actually put the work in to kind of, I don't know, get better.
I definitely get that. A lot of people think it's about like equipment and all that kind of stuff. Like obviously, having expensive equipment helps and everything like that. But I've seen like some great photos with just phones and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, you do kind of get the idea with having a camera in your pocket. Everybody thinks they're kind of a photographer, and not saying that people aren't. But there is other skill required for that kind of stuff. To get good photos, rule of thirds and all that kind of stuff. And you do get good photos, or you can get good photos without knowing that kind of stuff. But there are things to know that set you up for better photos. It's kind of it's kind of interesting. This phenomenon that's happened since smartphones have been adopted, for sure.
Yeah, there's always like, pros and cons. Like especially like I can even use like YouTube as an example, but for like the music industry, it's like it's good that. A lot of people can have access to programs and things that they can use to make music.
Accessibility, yeah.
Yeah, but it's also a bad thing that people have, because then it's like, there's going to be more crap. I think it's just how it is. With technology comes, that burden of just having to sift through nonsense to find good art.
Yeah, it's like a scale, it's like, yes, you're more accessible, or you're, it's more accessible to everybody. but then also it's harder for, like, in the context of music, right? Back in the 80s, 90s, and previously, you kind of had to get signed to a label to make it big. Obviously, there were independent acts, especially like in underground punk scenes or just in underground in general. But if you wanted to be like massive, then you kind of had to sign with a major label, right? Nowadays, it's a lot easier for someone to get their music out there.
Yeah.
But there's kind of less of an ability for someone to make money from it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and
totally.
I guess it's kind of the same thing with photography. With the music comparison, Spotify, you can get a million streams, but you only make $100 from it. Whereas back before Spotify and all that kind of stuff, you didn't really have that. So,
do you use Spotify?
I do.
Okay. Well, my podcast is on Spotify, so I hope some people listen to this use Spotify. And I have Spotify on my phone, but I find myself when I'm like listening to stuff, it's like I just put it on my phone because I already have it on my computer or whatever.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Or I use YouTube. But YouTube is kind of something I got to get out of the habit of using because it just kills your data, man.
Oh, yeah, I know what you mean. Even Spotify for me, like, I recently switched plans, but yes, it killed so much of my data. The issue with Spotify and Apple Music and all that kind of stuff is so convenient. And that's kind of the issue of our modern age, right? It's just like convenience versus whether it's ethical and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I don't even know if like whole albums will be a thing in 50 years.
Yeah.
It seems like they might not be. Like when I sometimes I'll do like top 5, albums of whatever artist with a guest. And I've had quite a few people being like, "Yo, like I had to like look up like what albums the songs I listen to on." And it's like, "Hey, to each their own, I'm a fan of singles. I'm a fan of like listening to an album from the beginning to the end. Not every album is like that, but it's really nice when you can get one that's like kind of seamless and just flows really nice. But I remember at the end of the year, my Spotify, okay, so everyone's doing these like crazy
Spotify rap and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
And so it was like, oh, your Spotify like song of the year is whatever. I don't even remember what the song was, but it was like, and you listened to it 6 times. And I was just like, people I've seeing like hundreds, like, thousands, and mine just says 6, and I'm like, yeah, I get that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's an interesting point about the albums too, because for me, I will admit that I'm definitely like a pick and choose, like, this one song of this one band, I'll just listen to that over and over and over and over until I'm done with it. And like,
it was a good week.
Yeah. Like my brain will just latch on to a song or maybe like a full album, and I'll just listen to that on repeat, and then after like a week and a half or 2 weeks, I just can't listen to it again. It's it's like constant consummation of media kind of thing.
Do you ever feel like you neglect like music and then you go back and you listen to it?
Oh, definitely.
Just because it's like, oh, I haven't listened to that in a while.
Yeah, like there are some bands or some albums that I will return to. Like if I really, really love a band, that's when I will listen to the full album and pass my judgment, so to speak, Like, this is a darn good album, or like,
Best album of all time.
Best album of all time, and like...
What are you saying? No, I'm asking. What do you think the best album of all time is?
Oh, jeez.
Your favorite album, let's say that.
I am very biased, because there's this one small, well, not small, but there's this one band from the town that like I went to high school in and kind of grew up in, called Colorado. They made it relatively big in the Canadian kind of alt rock scene and everything like that. They just broke up like 3 or 4 years ago, but and I just love them as like their music, kind of like the energy that they bring to all their live shows and the energy they bring to their albums. Like, for example, they had this one project that they had called 111 Songs, where everybody who pre-ordered their first album got a custom song made by them. But the thing was that they didn't expect so many people to pre-order their album. Mm-hmm. So they shut it down after a day, and then and then did nothing for the next 2 years but make one song a week, pretty much.
Wow.
And then released one album of 111 songs, and they're honestly pretty good, but my favorite album of theirs is this album called White Paint, and it's honestly like full, I think like 24 tracks, and just bop after bop after bop for me.
All right.
Definitely the album that I have listened to on repeat the most. And I have everything of theirs on a vinyl, including like their little LP that they made that isn't even sold anywhere anymore, that I found like in the back of a record shop in Kingston type of situation, that I had them sign it on their last show and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, no, yeah, what's your favorite album? What do you think would be the best of all time?
Man, okay, so that's your like island album.
Yeah.
If you were on one. Mine would be like Linkin Park Hybrid Theory, man.
Oh yeah.
It's just, it came at a time when I don't want to be corny and say I needed it, but I just think like music needed it. I feel like it ignited some stuff when like things before that were kind of frowned upon, and it took. I'm not just necessarily saying it was only Linkin Park, but I think Linkin Park was a part of like, like just a group of bands that helped change the way music is now, and the way like sounds are blended, and the way like when I was growing up, like in high school and stuff, it was like really weird to hear. It was like a really big thing when like Public Enemy and like Aerosmith or Run DMC and Aerosmith like did their song, and like I just I like every song, even the instrumental song. I really do.
Yeah.
My dog's name's Chester Bennington. Yeah, that's real.
Man, who'd have thunk that you're a Linkin Park fan with a dog,
Yeah.
Yeah, jeez.
But that's mine.
But honestly, man, like, corniness, I don't believe in that concept, alright? If something is, like, if something feels right to you, you just gotta say it. Like, I completely understand that with my favorite album. I discovered it at the right point for me that I needed it, And I definitely get that, though. And, like, Linkin Park, I know, is just such a monumental band in kind of, like, rock history, And of course,
there had never been, before Linkin Park, and like people can say this was good or bad, but like I think it was good. Like there had never ever been a rapper on Ozfest.
Really?
You know what I mean? Like Linkin Park, like I would say Mike Shinoda was probably the first rapper ever on Ozfest.
Oh wow. I mean, like, they were like kind of the forerunner. Now I'm looking at this from, I wasn't necessarily there, but they were kind of like the forerunners of that kind of style of rock, right? At least in the popular.
I would say, well, like the thing is, they started out with like a heavier sound, and I'll be the first one to say their last album that came out was very pop, like One More Light, and when it initially came out, I wasn't like a fan. I probably talked about this on here before, but whatever. And then Chester passed away, and I was like, yo, this is like the singer of like one of my favorite bands, if not my favorite band. And it's his last piece of art that he left us with. Like, I gotta take it in. I gotta give it a better chance than just being like, oh, this pop. And I just thought, like, all their albums up till then I had been a fan of. I'm, like, always a fan of change, and, like, just growing and, like, sound. I do like bands that kind of stay true a little bit to like, like bands like Disturbed. Like they have like bangers every now and then, but like overall I used to like them way more. I kind of got bored with that. I'm growing as a person. The things I like now I might not like in 5 years, and I didn't like 5 years ago.
Kind of like they're too consistent.
Yeah, it's like, I get it. And it's like raw and like we're traditional, and I get it. I love Metallica. Like I love fucking, whatever. But like, I just always love the growth and like seeing any band. I like growing with the bands.
Yes.
And I don't want to always hear the same stuff, because I can hear that stuff still. I can still listen to the old stuff. It's not going anywhere.
It's like, just because that they've kind of changed their sound a little bit doesn't mean that the old version of the band is gone. You could still go back to those old albums.
And if you see them live, they do it. Like, they do it all, and it's great. It's nice to have those, slower songs, and I mean, he went from like just being like kind of like this raw vocalist who almost sounded like Chester, I mean, who almost sounded like he had two voices when he sung.
Really?
To being like taking a bunch of like lessons and like you can hear that from album to album. Like he's just really kind of honing in and sharpening his voice, and he can still do the extreme screaming stuff. But now he has like this softer presence too, and he's exploring that side, and
I love hearing about this because, again, I'm relatively quote-unquote normie when it comes to Linkin Park. You know, I know, like, their, 3 or 4 biggest hits.
Yeah.
And I love hearing about you, like, you speaking passionately about this and all that kind of stuff. In regards to kind of, like, the evolution of singers' voices and stuff like that, I'm gonna bring up something so mainstream, but bear with me.
It's all good.
Like, listening to kind of, like, Green Day's first album, before that they released independently compared to Dookie, because they redid some of their original songs or some of the songs, right? And hearing the difference in
Welcome to Paradise is the one I'm thinking right out the gate.
That's the one that I was going to bring up. That a lot cleaner. Like, admittedly, I do kind of like the rougher vocals sometimes.
Yeah,
but it definitely gets a lot cleaner.
You're a Green Day fan.
I went through a big phase that I still do enjoy Green Day, but not as much as
That's fair.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, right? Totally. Because first album I ever bought was Green Day Kerplunk, bro.
The first album,
100%.
Yeah, the first album that I actually I bought, pre-ordered, paid money for, all that kind of shit was Revolution Radio.
Okay.
There was one of the newer albums, right? Admittedly, sadly, not as good as some of their older stuff, but there's still... It's really strange, how time kind of warms you up to stuff that you didn't really like initially.
Yeah.
I haven't really listened to that album admittedly since I first got it. It was on constant repeat when I first got the record, but online I've been seeing, oh yeah, you guys remember Revolution Radio? Like, there were some actually pretty good songs on that and everything like that, and that got me thinking, like, man, there were a couple good ones on there, and I feel like, they're same thing with how people have started warming up to the Star Wars prequels, for example. Time heals all wounds, so to speak, especially with crappy media,
Sometimes, though, man, like, you can just miss some things. I'm trying to think of something that I hated way back when, and then I revisited it. So I feel like I said too many it is. I went to revisit it, and I liked it again. You have anything like that you can think of off the top of your head?
Not off the top of my head. Like with that album, Revolution Radio, I think there were, when I first listened to it, there were a couple ones that I did enjoy, but then I just kind of fell off of it. It's not that good. I might as well just listen to some of their older stuff, right? But I'm gonna try and listen to it again. I don't know.
I think, like, Green Day is a band that went through an evolution. It's just towards the end, I just wasn't a fan of, like, I don't know. I can't really. I'm not gonna have any excuses. I just wasn't really a fan of, like, some of their newer stuff, but. They're still a solid band. They're a legendary band.
Oh, yeah.
No one can take that away from them, the stuff that they did.
They definitely kind of... The way that I see it is that they paved the way for, like, Fall Out Boy and, like, those more pop-punk kind of genre.
Yeah, Blink-182, Billy Talent, all those, Sum 41.
Oh, Sum 41. Yeah. I'm a big sucker for that kind of era. My mom was a big punk fan.
Okay.
So I grew up with, like, Sum 41 pop punk. Sorry, I don't want to disparage actual punk or whatever, but Propagandy. They did
Today's Empires, Tomorrow's Ashes.
Yes.
That's like one of the best punk albums of all time. Bro.
Yeah. Like,
oh my god. See, Aiden, this is why I wanted to do this, bro. This is great. No one knows Propagandy, bro.
I know, right?
Kills me.
I thought they were a lot more popular than they actually were. Like, geez. Like, I was able to see them in Ottawa. There's a music video called the Bronson Center. It's an old abandoned high school, and so they kind of like rebuilt the auditorium to actually be a proper like rock venue. and I saw Propaganda there, and it was like, before that I wasn't really into that kind of music and everything like that, but Mom was like, hey, Propaganda was like a band that I listened to when I was a teenager. You wanna go see Propaganda? I'm like, I don't know Propaganda, but sure, I love live music. I'll go. And like, kind of blew my mind, you know.
So hold on. So you're 20.
Yes.
I'm trying to. Can I ask how are your parents like around their 40s?
My mom just turned 40.
Yeah.
Last year, yeah.
Wow. Okay, so we probably listened to like, okay, that's cool, man. Mm-hmm. That's cool. I dig that.
Yeah.
And you were born in Kingston?
I was born in Ottawa.
Ottawa.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I bounced all over before. You know, I've lived in Florida, Montreal. Spent most of my time in Brockville, if you know that place.
Yeah, I know that place.
Brock, Vegas.
Florida. What was that like, man? How long did you live there?
Just a year. I was like a toddler, pretty much. So I don't remember much of it. It was like Clearwater Beach and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, no, I spent like primary school years in Brockville, high school in a small town outside of Ottawa called Greeley. So like real hick stuff. Like if you watch Letterkenny?
Yeah.
Literally the same fucking shit, you know? Like,
okay.
Oh, fuck
do you know the hockey player on Kenny? The hockey coach.
Yes, I do.
He's oh my god, that's Mark Ford, bro.
Yes, I've seen him in some other stuff. Is he associated with This Hour Has 22 Minutes?
He might be. He's done some stuff for CBC, like a bunch of stuff, and he had his own show at one point where like he would like kind of it was like competition show, and he was like a judge. But he's also in Mr. D.
Oh yes, Mr. D. He might have been on the reboot of Match Game a couple times.
Yeah, I could see that. He's so funny, dude.
I had Comedy Central on so many times. Like Comedy Central on all the time when I was like grade 9, grade 10. So it was always like reruns of Match Game, Just for Laughs, and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not good with names, but I know faces, and like, yeah, his face definitely rings a bell in regards to that kind of stuff.
So that's how you grew up, eh? That's alright, though. Sounds like you had cool parents, man.
Yeah. How about you? Like, are you a Toronto native, or?
Yeah, I was born in Toronto. I was born in East General.
Oh, okay.
In East York, yeah. And I moved around a lot. I lived in BC for a few years, and then I moved back. I moved back to Toronto when I was like towards the end of grade 5.
Okay.
Like, I shouldn't have moved when I moved.
Yeah.
But, like, it was like, I had like 3 months left of this last semester of grade 5, and I had to move. But yeah. Pretty much just Toronto, all around, like, really the GTA, but went to Brampton for like 10 years.
Okay.
And now I'm in Mississauga, and I don't mind it. I'm going to be driving soon, so a lot of this, like, distance stuff isn't going to be as much of an issue.
Oh yeah, I honestly I miss having a car.
Yeah, you do drive though.
Oh yeah, I have my license. You kind of have to have a car if you're living in the country, you know.
That's fair, man. Yeah.
Yeah. No. I had a Pontiac Sunfire, my beloved. Bought it for $1,000. Came with a.
Did you name it?
Yeah, Monty.
Monty
the Ponty.
All right, Monty the Ponty.
Oh, it was falling apart. You know, I'd be the friend that everybody hops in the car to go for Tim's runs and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
The plastic panels on the side door on the interior of the doors, right? You slam the door too hard, they would actually pop off.
Legendary.
Yeah, you know.
It's weird how we grow to like love things like that.
Yeah.
But their imperfections are what make them.
Yeah, exactly. I my favorite memory with that car is that I blew out a tire on the 401 in Scarborough.
Okay.
In the middle of the 401, because there's a year's difference between Hannah and I, right? And she went to college before me. So I would actually drive between Ottawa and Toronto every like couple weeks.
To go in Monty?
In Monty. I pulled so many hours of driving in that car. Yeah, no. And so, sorry, so previously did you ever drive, or is this like a new thing?
Yeah, no,
new thing for you?
This is new. But
okay.
I had my G1 before, and I went to visit family in BC, and like back then, like this is when the G1, G2 system like had just been like implemented like a few years before. And so the family, I had like all my family moved from Toronto to BC, and they weren't really aware because in BC it still wasn't like that. Like you could go in and get your license like within the day, like your full thing. Yeah. And so I went there, I had my G1 car, and they kind of like let me drive around just by myself and stuff. So I have like a little bit of experience. I know it's not exactly the same, but I did drive forklifts for 4 years, bro. So,
okay. Now look, forklift certified, you can drive anything. All right, forklift certification is like the holy grail, you know?
Yeah, that's what I've always said.
It's like it's become like a sort of a meme nowadays. You know about this?
No.
Like, hey, all right, look, I'm forklift certified. I can do anything. All right, I can fly that plane. I'm forklift certified. It's like the superpower of of licenses.
All right.
It's definitely very cool to have forklift certification now. Like, among the Zoomer generation, it's like you're forklift certified.
Oh, buddy,
that's fucking.
Just go get it. Not even work. Just show people every once in a while.
Honestly, like, if it doesn't cost that much, that's like what I might actually do. My goal is to get as many like certifications as possible. You know, if I have the money, or if I ever do come up with money, I'm getting trucker's license, helicopter, airplane, all that kind of stuff. You know, you can never be overqualified.
Have you ever been in a helicopter?
No,
bro. I've never been in a helicopter either.
You know the funny thing? I'm scared of heights.
I am too, dude. I am too. Legitimate. It's real. It's something that's I don't really let control me though. I'm kind of like I really like roller coasters, and I've been bungee jumping before.
Oh yeah. Oh, I can't do bungee jumping.
No
way.
Oh man, it was the fun. It was crazy, but it was so fun, dude. I feel like I almost like blacked out. Like it was crazy. But yeah.
Yeah, I've done ziplining before. That's probably as adventurous as I would get with heights.
Are you a roller coaster guy?
No. I just last month I went to Disneyland with Hannah and
oh shoot!
And Piper
yes,
and
I saw that. Yeah.
And look, I'm not even gonna lie. I'm such a wuss. I didn't even go on the Matterhorn, man. All right, like I know that 5-year-olds go on it, but like I can't deal with that shit. I'm fine with indoor roller coasters. My favorite ever roller coaster is like the Mummy ride at Universal Studios or whatever.
All right.
It's all indoor and it's a huge like there's loops and everything like that. Just being outside and the massive drop for me, I can't do.
Gotcha.
You a roller coaster guy? I
do like them, and I don't go as often as I would like, and I feel like I'm kind of. That's it for me, really. But like now having a kid, like it's going to be completely different. Like with my ex, it was a very like we went a couple times, and it's just kind of like.
Isn't it nearby too? Canada's Wonderland?
Yeah, Wonderland. Yeah, that's usually like that's the only one I've ever been to. I've been to like I don't know. There was one in BC, but it was like an eighth.
Of
what Wonderland is. So Wonderland's definitely the biggest one I've been to, and going with. It's going to be on record, but it doesn't matter. It might be a little different, but because I don't know, I'm actually having a daughter of my own. But when I went with my ex and her daughter, it's just kind of like the time. It's like, oh man, like my time of enjoying this kind of place. I feel like is like it's almost over.
Yeah, but then you get to have the joy of showing someone.
That's
gonna be awesome.
Yeah,
like.
And I'll have to wait a few years, but we'll be able to go on the big rides eventually.
Exactly, The thing that you gotta do is you gotta prime your kid for roller coasters. Like, the thing for me is that I never rode roller coasters until I was, like, 11, 12 type of thing. And I was dragged on to a roller coaster and I did not have a fun time with it. That's probably why I don't really like them now, but, like, if you get your kid on roller coasters early and you get them to enjoy them, then you're, like, set that if you just want a fun day or whatever... To enjoy with your kid, you can go to Canada's Wonderland and you get to re-experience all that good shit.
Yeah, there's definitely like I'm pretty open and don't really care what happens with my daughter or what she's into or whatever. But I just when it really comes down to it for me, like one of the most important things is that she thinks I'm funny.
Yes, I get that.
You know, but oh man. I'm just going to be that annoying dad that's doing stupid shit all the time just to make her laugh. She's going to get old and be like, oh, there's my dad. But fuck, man. It's exciting stuff.
Yeah. It's it's great.
All right, dude. You want to get into top 5?
Oh, jeez. All right, yeah, sure.
I think we should start with photographers because I don't really know. Like, I could say like the people I know.
Yeah, fair enough.
Like, but I just know, like, I just mean like you would be one of them. Crisia Valiente would be one of them. Like, just people that I know that do photos and have done like my shows. But I don't really know any like big names. You can enlighten me.
Yeah, I actually kind of wrote some stuff down before.
Oh, bro, me too, man.
I am very bad with names, so I had to like rack my brain who are photographers I know and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Mostly it's gonna be people like historical for top. So I guess we'll start with 5 and work our way down to 1.
Yeah,
right?
that's usually
how it works. So for 5 we have Christy Goodwin. She is like a concert photographer.
Okay.
Fucking amazing work. She's based out of London and like I don't know how to describe it. She's really like she's probably one of the biggest names in concert photography, at least in Europe and all that kind of stuff. She just started like in 2005, which is relatively like recently for photographers. When you get big names in photography, these people have been doing it for like 40.
It's a long game.
50 years. Yeah, definitely. It's like a hone your craft type of situation,
for
right?
Sure.
Before that, she was like a photojournalist, and then now she does concert photography, and she's done photos for like Elton John, Katy Perry, like pretty much any big name that goes through London. She has gotten the chance to do concert photos for, and just her use of kind of like light and framing and how she edits her photos to make the colors pop, or when she decides to use black and white for kind of like slower moments. Like there's this really, really good image that she has of I believe it's Elton John kind of like on the piano, and there's like the light shining behind him, and it's all black and white, and it's just absolutely beautiful. And back when I did concert photography, she was definitely kind of like an inspiration for me for kind of like framing, editing, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
There's a large part of concert photography that's right place, right time. Same thing with kind of like sports and...
Oh, yeah.
But she is one of those photographers that always seems to be in the right place at the right time. On top of already her skill, you know? Like that kind of thing. Very, very cool. And the cool thing is that she's still doing the work today. The rest of the people on my list are either retired or have passed. They're kind of like older people.
Okay.
Number 4, his name is Yusuf Karsh. Sorry.
It's all good, man.
And interesting story on how I kind of discovered him is that in Ottawa, I like, exploring the city now, everything like that. I think when I was still in the city, I pretty much took an entire summer to just walk every single side street in downtown Ottawa and everything like that. Kind of really explore all the spots.
Yeah.
And I was walking through kind of like a covered kind of alleyway, and there was a plaque on it that said like, it's been like 6 or 7 years, but it says like, here was the studio of world-renowned portrait photographer Yusuf Karsh. And I was like, I didn't know that like we had any famous photographers from Ottawa. I don't really know many famous people from Ottawa, period, besides prime ministers, because it's a boring city. I'll admit that.
I've been there like once.
Yeah,
I have a couple buddies that live there.
Anyway, so I look him up and everything like that, and turns out that he pretty much like did portraits for anybody who was like the who's who of like 1930s, 40s. Politicians, celebrities, all that kind of stuff. One of the most kind of like famous portraits of Winston Churchill you'll see is like him looking slightly annoyed at the camera while holding a cigar. That was one of his photos.
All right. Because
he asked Winston Churchill like, "Hey, can we do one last photo before you leave?" And Winston Churchill was like, What the hell are you talking about? He's like looking at him with a weird look, and he snapped the photo right at the moment. But like all the prime ministers, like all the celebrities that went through to Ottawa, and what I really like about him is that he was very, very kind of soft on the light. He liked doing kind of waist up shots, that you could see the full figure of the individual. It wasn't just like the face or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
You get to kind of see how they hold themselves, and he was able to get photos of these kind of people, how you got to see their like true spirit, you know, like how they actually were. Yeah, like he was a very interesting individual. He actually was born in Armenia, and he's an Armenian genocide survivor and all that kind of stuff. And he came to Ottawa and set up his practice, and he was a very, very interesting story for a very interesting man. And yeah, he is probably one of the more important people in Canadian photography in regards to like kind of portraits and lighting and all that kind of stuff.
All right.
Very, very cool guy. For my number 3 is Dorothy Lange. So she was a photojournalist in, I believe it was either San Francisco, somewhere in California, during the 1920s and 30s. And what she was able to do is she was able to get like, she pretty much documented the Great Depression in like the Dust Bowl area.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, along with the stock market crash came like a historic, like once in 1,000-year drought in the Midwest that caused a lot of farms to, you know, go out of business and everything like that. And she pretty much documented the struggle of these people trying to survive where there was like no food in the middle of America and everything like that. And she kind of brought awareness to this crisis that was happening in the Midwest. And it was very, very interesting work of hers if you'd care to look it up. Yeah. Number 2 is Robert Capa. He's kind of like the holy grail for photojournalists.
Okay.
So he started working in the night. All of these guys were pretty much like 1920s to the 1960s. But Robert Capa, he like, if you name a historical moment between those periods, he was probably there. Like he followed the Spanish Civil War, World War II. He was one of the few photographers actually on D-Day taking photos and everything like that. He went to, after World War II, he went to China and documented like what happened with like the Chinese Nationalist Party and the Chinese Communist Party and all that kind of stuff. Pretty much like, yeah, name a major historical moment in like the first half of the 20th century. He was probably there documenting it and kind of bringing light on subjects that weren't really talked about in primary news outlets and all that kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
And then my number 1 pick is, maybe he wasn't as influential as the other guys, but he kind of really inspired me in what I do. His name is Ansel Adams. So he was born in 1902, and he got his first camera in 1912, which was like one of those little brownie box cameras, right, without even with a lens. And he actually lived to see the rise of digital, like early digital photography in the mid 80s. And so he pretty much, he saw the evolution of photography as we know it, pretty much. From like brownie cameras to like Nikon SLRs type of situation, right?
Yeah.
And he documented it. He wrote a lot of books about like kind of the art of photography, the science, the physics, and also kind of the theory towards it. The rule of thirds, the kind of the golden ratio, or like some of the points that he brings up. And he's pretty much taught in a fair amount of university photography courses because he was kind of so influential in the field in regards to theory, and that doesn't even disparage his photography. He was kind of like the primary photographer for the National Park Service in the U.S. So his job was to go around the United States and take photos of these national parks and even of like places that were prospective national parks that his photos influenced people to be like, hey, we should like preserve nature in this area. Let's form a national park here. Like,
that's cool.
Yeah, like obviously he wasn't the sole person to influence, but his photos certainly helped it, and he was an early adopter of the Hasselblad camera, which is like a really, really famous camera system if you're a photographer.
I'm not familiar, no.
It's all good. They sent them to the moon, pretty much. That's
okay.
all you need to know. Like that was like the camera system that they sent to the moon. So yeah, no, those are my top 5 photographers.
All right, dude. I dig that. There's a couple I definitely want to look into, man.
Yeah.
See, this is like a thing where it's like I like hearing how you're passionate about this. You know what I mean? Let's do superheroes next.
Oh yes, okay.
I'll go through mine quick.
Yes, no,
I
for
do
sure.
these, and I do them all the time. You probably watched Wallets. I probably did them on there, but Batman,
Of course.
Ninja Turtles. Okay, this is like 1 to 5. That's how I'm doing it. So
okay.
Batman's my number 1. Ninja Turtles is my number 2.
Can I just say something?
Okay.
Ninja Turtles is my number 2 also.
Nice, bro. Nice.
Sorry, anyways, go
Yeah,
on.
they gotta be, right?
Yeah, of course.
Then I'm going Red Hood, Arsenal, and Spider-Man is my number 5.
Oh, okay. I like that. Yeah, Red Hood is a very, very interesting pick. I do like that. For me, so I tried to do like, all right, let's try with like non-Marvel DC. I was giving myself a challenge.
Yeah, all right, I dig it.
So my number 5, we're gonna go back to like the 1950s, 60s with the Green Hornet.
Okay.
Have you seen the movie with Seth Rogen?
That's the only one I've seen. I've seen bits of the original, but I haven't watched it entirely.
Don't worry, I'm pretty much basing mine off I do a little bit of both. I just kind of like the concept of it kind of flips Batman on his head, where like the sidekick is the actual competent one.
Yeah.
But the main hero is like kind of full of himself that he thinks that he's the actual guy.
Yeah.
I just kind of like that. It's not even necessarily a trope. I like that dynamic between Kato and I don't even know the name of the other guy, the Green Hornet himself.
Yeah, yeah.
And just like the car with the gadgets, like the classic. Was it a Cadillac or something?
I can't remember, but I remember the gadgets.
Oh yeah, like all that is so cool.
It wasn't a horrible movie. I didn't think it was horrible.
It wasn't too bad. That's one of the movies that definitely could get like a cult following kind of treatment. You know what I mean? For my number 4, I went with Invincible. Have you seen the show?
I haven't seen it yet.
It's very, very good. It's up there with The Boys. That's kind of like subverting kind of like the superhero genre that's been built kind of by Marvel and everything like that. Yeah. You know, it's very, very good. Highly suggested. Kind of takes that chosen one kind of trope of like you are the son of a great superhero and everything like that. Kind of flips it on its head.
Yeah, I've been told. A lot of people have told me to see it.
It's very good. Number 3. So with Green Hornet, we went back to the 1950s. Number 3, I'm going to be a little bit of a hipster here and go back to 900 AD with Beowulf.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of it?
Yeah.
By any chance?
Yeah.
Kind of like the original.
We go way back.
Oh,
man.
yeah, way back.
Shout out my man, Jesus Christ.
Yes, exactly. Oh, man.
But yeah.
Beowulf, like, written in Old English, one of the classic kind of, like, English, Nordic stories. I found a really, because it's all translations and all that kind of stuff, right? It all depends. I found this very interesting translation. I wish I could remember who it was by, but it was written in kind of like modern slang lingo. Now, that sounds relatively like corny, cheesy, cringy, but making Beowulf like this roided up gym bro is kind of funny. Like it adds some comedy to it, you know. Like there are a couple uses of the word swole out there and everything like that. So just the comparison of like this 1,000-year-old story with this modern kind of language is kind of funny. And the reason that Beowulf is kind of like in this list is that he's like one of the original superheroes, right, in English, I guess. And he's like the the blueprint for like, Conan the Barbarian and pretty much any of these like big muscly superhero guys that swing around a club or a sword or anything like that, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like it can all kind of be traced back to Beowulf in a way, if you look at it with a certain respect. Then it also Hercules and all that kind of stuff. It's a really, really interesting book to read. I don't know. I did definitely want to throw something different out there. So Beowulf could be there. Right, number 2 is TMNT, of course. Right. No, you can't go wrong with the turtles. Who's your favorite turtle?
Raphael.
Okay, yeah, I'm more of a Donatello myself. Yeah.
All right. Donatello is like, he's up there.
Yeah.
They all have. Do you do comics or anything like that? Do you know The Last Ronin? Do you know what's like?
I am aware of The Last Ronin, but I haven't read it yet.
Okay. That's that's something that if you're into the Turtles, yeah.
Really? Okay, I'm gonna have to look it up. Most of my experience with the Turtles comes from like pretty much watched most of the cartoons. Obviously the original movies. Right. I had Secret of the Ooze on DVD growing up. So
good, man.
It honestly was one of my favorite movies growing up. Like, I must have seen that movie like 15, 16 times, right? And then also...
that opening fight scene, though?
Oh my god,
it was Donatello when he was going back like this. Oh, there's so many good parts of that movie, man.
And Great then movie. The original PlayStation 2 game, I don't know if you've ever played that one, but...
I don't know if I have.
It was made for the animated movie that they made in 2006, I believe.
Oh, and I do know.
Honestly, one of the best games that I've played on that console. It's a bit of a sleeper. Not many people have known about it.
I didn't play the game, but I know the movie.
Yeah.
I know the movie.
And then number one would have to be Hellboy.
All right.
Like, the original Guillermo del Toro movies, and then the comic series, I just, like... I love... I am a sucker for stuff in that, like... kind of like a cult, mystic type stuff, but with the action too is just... I'm a huge sucker for Hellboy.
Did you see have you seen the remake?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet either.
Yeah.
But I really like the first two movies.
Yes, they are definitely up there for my favorite kind of superhero movies, for sure.
Ron Perlman.
Oh my god.
Even though I like David Harbour, like Ron Perlman will always be Hellboy to me.
Alright, to bring it back to one of your first questions, underrated actors, Ron Perlman.
There you go. Yeah. That's a great pick.
Alright, yeah, no, like Hellboy, I even loved his role in Pacific Rim.
Okay.
As kind of like the black market salesman dude. Who lost a finger and everything like that. Have you watched?
I've seen it once.
Oh, okay, yeah. But Ron Perlman is like one of those people where he's never really the main guy besides Hellboy.
Yeah.
But when you see him in a movie, it's like that's a good role. That's like a good cameo. Like he's always playing these really really interesting really interesting characters that I adore everything that he's in. At least everything that I've seen so far.
Have you seen it, Deadpool 2? Have you seen that movie?
Yes.
Okay, so like when that was coming out, before they cast Josh Brolin as Cable.
Oh.
And I don't like to get involved with all these and I'm like a Restore the Snyderverse guy, right?
Yeah,
but I never signed anything and did it. But I definitely wanted that to, it is what it is now. I'm fine with that. But there was a petition online for Ron Perlman to be Cable, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And he had done, I can't remember exactly what it was, but he had posted a photo of himself done up like Cable somewhere, probably on Instagram or something like that. It doesn't even matter, but I mean, I thought Josh Brolin was a bad choice, especially since he was already Thanos. What are we doing?
Like too many comic book parts. I get that.
Yeah, and it's Marvel too. It's like he's too different. I don't know. It's strange. And Perlman would have been way better.
Yeah, I do agree with that. That I will say that I did kind of enjoy Josh Brolin, so I
liked him as Cable.
Yeah,
I didn't think he was bad.
Yeah.
I just thought Ron Perlman would have been better. That's all I'm saying.
All right, I'll sit with you there. If agree to disagree, where if not Josh Brolin, then Ron Perlman for sure.
All right. That's fair.
I definitely get that though. Like he has the structure for it. He has the face. He has the wide body kind of thing. He has the gray hair. He could definitely do. He could definitely pull off the Cable look.
Definitely.
For sure.
Yeah. Was that 5 for you? Was that
5? Yes, because my Green Hornet, Green Hornet, Invincible, Beowulf, TMNT, and Hellboy. So yeah.
Boom. All right. This one's cool. And it was weird. I didn't know exactly how to word it. And when I was explaining it to you, items that you collect or collections that you enjoy collecting for the most, I don't know exactly how to word it.
I get that.
Basically just things you like collecting, you know? And I gave you my first two as examples because I thought it would help out.
Yeah.
And so yeah, comics are for sure my number one.
Okay.
Especially like gems. Like I have the whole Watchmen series, bro. Like the original. I have some original buttons that were released when the original, like when the number one was released from like 85 or 86 or whatever it is.
Yeah, so please feel free to go off about this stuff because I also have like a small comic collection, but like I definitely want to hear more about this. Like what?
Well,
sorry.
No, go.
Well, what do you think is like your favorite series to collect for? Because you said you had the full Watchmen.
Honestly, it's gonna kind of it'll kind of circle back at the end. But yeah, like basically, like I got the original Peacemaker series.
Oh wow!
From the 80s, I have some. I want to say I have the oldest comics I have are from '69. That's what I want to say. And
really?
It's just like it's a 3-issue like miniseries, the untold story of the Batman.
Ooh.
And it's like, and it just kind of like explains like where he got the idea of the costume and that he was the guy who actually wore the original Robin costume going to like this Halloween party with his dad, and like it just like kind of had like these strange stories that were kind of just like branches that kind of just elaborated a little more about who.
That's really interesting. Yeah.
And, so that's like one of my favorites, but anyways, comics, number one. Funkos, you can't tell right now because there's actually going to be another shelf that goes on top of those Linkin Park ones. That black shelf I literally just put up like yesterday.
Okay.
we're still kind of setting this place up, but yeah, Funkos, definitely. Probably have like 50, and I got some really cool ones, man. Like I have Beavis and Butthead. Cool. I have like Jay and Silent Bob. You ever seen Tommy Boy with Chris Farley? I have those guys. I have him and David Spade.
I didn't even know that they made.
Dude, it's so I have some really really cool ones.
That's insane, man. That's cool.
And then my number 3, movies, shows, series. That's all that. This isn't even all my stuff, man. I have like more. I just don't have any space here.
Yeah. Oh man, I am extremely jealous.
Oh, thanks, man. That's what every collector wants to hear.
Like this is amazing. Like you can't see her right now, but oh my gosh, it's really really cool. I've started collecting. I don't want to say perfectionist is the wrong word, but I'm very like typical with the movies and stuff. Have you ever heard of the Criterion collection by any chance? The Criterion. What movies are in that? It's like I don't think I have. What it is? It's like a kind of more. What they do is they re-release films. Are they Blu-ray kind of deals? Yeah. So Blu-rays. They did a whole DVD run before Blu-ray came out. They've been doing it since like the early 2000s. But what they do is like every month they pick like 2 or 3 movies, and what they do is that they research it intensely. If they find the original, like if it's filmed on film, they find the original like rolls of film and they rescan it for 4K and like do interviews with the people who worked on it and all that kind of stuff. And they pretty much present like the perfect, package for collectors and stuff like that. So I'm a big Wes Anderson snob type of situation. Oh, my lady's big on Wes Anderson. So like. The He's good. Yeah, like I really. If you look right there, there's a Wes Anderson book right there. Oh yes. You see it? Right by the Nintendo 64. Oh. Boom, on the left. It's the big one right on the. Oh, Wes Anderson, yes. Yeah. She's huge. She's on. I like him as well. Yeah, like so. I have the Fantastic Mr. Fox, and I have the Grand Budapest Hotel versions. Oh my God, Fantastic Mr. Fox. And so usually they're like $50 each, like they're relatively expensive, but I can find them at BMV for like $20. And it's really cool because, specifically the Grand Budapest Hotel one, it comes like with a little booklet with all of like the concept art, the like an essay written by like a film critic or whatever about the film, and it has like posters advertising like the hotel, like, in universe. So it's like, come visit the Grand Budapest Hotel. And it's like, it's pretty much like the deluxe edition of deluxe editions type of situation. I got you. So those are the ones that you collect. Yeah. I only have like 3 or 4 though. Yeah. So it's like one of those things that like, if I see a movie that I really, really like, I'm gonna, okay, I have to get it. It's fine. I'll spend the $20, But
Fantastic Mr. Fox, though. Let's be real. That's a phenomenal movie.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That might be my favorite Wes Anderson movie.
Yeah.
And there was another animated one too.
Isle of Dogs.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah, that one was really good.
His claymation stuff is pretty good. Sorry, we kind of derailed your.
No,
top
it's
5.
fine, bro. No, it's fine. I'm totally good. I enjoyed where it was going. Yeah, so I guess movies and shows was next. Then I'm going video games and consoles. Mm-hmm. You know, and I pretty much have everything that I want.
Yeah,
I would get a Super, and if possible, maybe a Dreamcast.
Oh yeah,
maybe, but that's about it.
Yes, this is going to lead to one of our lists later on, and seeing the N64, I'm just gonna be like, oh, my list is going to be a little bit controversial, is it?
It's cool, man. It's cool. We'll do it.
It's definitely like up there, but.
And then I'm going anything Batman. That's my number 5. And that's really kind of what circles back to the comics is because anything the most stuff in there, and I still have stuff, I have some comics behind that room divider or whatever, but at least 4 of those boxes are just Batman stuff. Wow. You know, and I probably have maybe about 16 altogether now. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? And 4 of them, that's at least 400 or 500 comics, man. Wow.
You got full.
And I have extra boxes that I need to freaking get new boxes for because I'm weird about. I don't know. I'm so OCD about things, bro. Mm-hmm. Everything legit in my collection is in the exact same bag. The exact same board. Yeah. You know, I have all my shit labeled. Yeah. I have a label maker that I got only for comics. I'm so serious. Everything is almost too detailed. Too organized almost.
I definitely get what you're talking about. When we get onto my list, I'll talk about some of my more weirder stuff. But yeah, no, I definitely get what you're saying. I love the Batman stuff. If I wasn't already preoccupied with collecting so many stuff, Batman comics would probably be up there.
All right.
Him and Spider-Man are probably my two favorite of the DC/Marvel superheroes. You know, very, very, definitely a very controversial take for Batman and Spider-Man to be favorite superheroes, but, hey, they're the greatest for a reason, right? They're most popular.
I would say so.
Yeah. You know.
What you got, though, for your collections, man?
All right. So, number 5, it was a thing that kind of started me out with I like to call it hoarding because that's pretty much hoarding with slightly more expensive
hoarding with
stuff.
Style.
Yeah, hoarding with style. That's a great term. It got me started out. I started collecting coins relatively early. Nothing too fabulous, but man, being able to feel kind of being able to think of how many hands some old coins have been in. I have stuff from the Roman age.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Or how you're able to tell kind of the history of a country through their coinage, because usually they have the leader of the country on the back. Mm-hmm. I have a good kind of couple coins that I have to kind of explain this. Is I have French coinage, a 5 franc piece from 1939 and 1942. Mm-hmm. So 1939 is right at the 1938. So right at the cusp of World War II, it's already happened. And then 1942 is...
It's done.
The Germans have taken over France and they've minted new coinage and everything like that. So there's different symbols and everything like that. It's very...
I got you.
Where it looks the same. It's the same type of metal. It's the same kind of piece. But then, there's different imagery stamped on it and everything like that. And then there are different versions of that same coin that when metal started there's a shortage, they had to swap out the metal and it looks different and all that kind of stuff. My number 4 kind of vaguely leads into that. I like to collect militaria. So I have, a Yugoslavian military helmet from 1960s. I have a Korean War era Canadian, fatigue outfit. I actually used to wear those two things airsoffting.
Okay.
So it's
Aiden's taking this really serious, guys.
Oh yeah, I'm hard. No, yeah. Well, you get people with airsoft because it's all the guns and everything are a lot more realistic than actual you can get pretty much, you name a real life gun, you can get an airsoft version of it, which you don't really get with the paintball. So people go a lot more hardcore than me. I just threw together whatever I was able to get from Army surplus, pretty much.
Okay.
But, militaria, I also have a couple swords. I found this one, like, you know what a rapier is?
No.
It's like a pirate sword, slightly curved, but like it's
okay. Yeah.
So I found this one sword at a flea market in Kingston. I bought it for $20. It was completely rusted over, but then there was like a guy that I knew at that knew a little bit more about that kind of stuff than I did. He took it and actually did proper research and everything like that. Turns out like it's an actual British officer's sword from the 1880s kind of situation that I had just stumbled upon for $20. Yeah.
Right?
And they're like all the stamps are correct. The handle is like shark skin wrapped in copper wire type of situation. Like really, really weird stuff. Like if I had a superpower, it would be luck. Definitely able to get some really cool stuff for not the price that they're worth. Like for example, I was able to get a hold of an 1881 Mauser rifle. So like actual rifle like gun that shot like black powder bullets and everything like that.
You have to stuff down with the...
Was it
one of those?
No. It still had like the tube that you could put the proper bullets and everything like that.
Okay. All right.
But it was like 1871 was the year that it was from and everything like that. It's not here in Toronto, but back at my dad's place in Brockville. But like, I just like what happened was that crap. How to get a hold of it? We have a family friend that does demolition, like of houses and stuff like that. They found the gun in the walls.
What?
So got it registered and everything like that. Bought it from him, and so now it's over.
That's cool, man.
All that kind of stuff. Number 3, same thing with you. Video games on consoles. So like, I have NES, SNES, the original PlayStation 2, 3, 4, Xbox 360, and then a Sega Genesis. So I do have a fair amount. The N64 is the only thing that I need to get, but I came across the NES, SNES, and the Genesis. Actually, it was a really interesting story. So one of my dad's best friends from high school is a video game collector, and he sadly ended up passing away, but he left all the stuff to my dad, and so it's really, really interesting because the one thing that the thing that I like really appreciated from it is that some of the games from the NES, right? It's the original Dragon Quest IV and the original Metal Gear game, and so those games have puzzles in it, right? His original handwriting is on the manuals and everything like that, and I just really appreciate when people like leave their marks on some of the stuff and everything like that. I don't know, it's an interesting story, and I like to bring it up whenever I talk about that kind of stuff because it's just,
Hell yeah. I freaking want a Super Nintendo so bad, man.
Yeah.
So bad. My buddy has him and his lady have 3, and I'm like, just sell me one, bro. Just sell me. He's like, man, she doesn't want to get rid of it. Honestly, what? I think he's just lying. I think he doesn't want to get rid of it, and he's just using his lady as an excuse, but it's all good, whatever.
Yeah,
Keep your 3 Super Nintendos, Jason. I don't want them.
They're hard to find nowadays, too.
Man, and I don't want to get the mini for the Super Nintendo because there's so many games that I want to collect for that.
Definitely, I found. Do you know about Shaq Fu by any chance? Not many people do.
Yes, I do.
Okay, you are one of the few people that I know that has heard about Shaq Fu.
That was a fun game, man.
The one thing that I've always wanted to do is a Shaq Fu tournament.
Okay.
Because I was able to get it for 15 American at a flea market in the middle of Florida, and I was like,
this guy.
This is a score! What? Because they're not, it's relatively hard to find, and I'm like, I have to get this. I didn't have much money at the time, but I was like, well, I might as well spend the money because I don't know when I'm going to run across this again.
Yeah. That's a great game.
Yeah, that's the problem with collecting so many things. It's just like...
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And then my number 1 is books. I have over 500 books in my library right now.
That's wicked.
Like, obviously not all of them are like, 200 years old or anything like that, but I have some pretty interesting ones. All of them I've been able to grab for steals, for sure. Like, I have like a 3rd edition. Do you know Lawrence of Arabia?
Yeah.
Yeah. I have like his first book, like a 5th edition of his book I got for like $20 at a garage sale. Yeah, like, that kind of stuff.
Wild, bro.
One of my favorite stories about books is that I have family in Florida, so I do like this is before COVID, but we used to do road trips down to Florida and take the back roads and all that kind of stuff through the Appalachian Mountains of Tennessee. Real like, middle of nowhere type of situation. Like you can't see a house for miles, and we come across like a small town of like a town of like 300 people in the middle of these mountains, and there's like a flea market there, and so we go to the flea market, we do a quick carousal, just to stop, my dad runs to the washroom, I go to the flea market type of situation, right? And there's this old man, like in his mid-80s, and he has his like little booth and everything like that, and it's just all knickknacks, like, and there's a couple books there, and I was like, yeah, these look pretty old, so I started flipping through them. And it's an 1891 copy of Charles Dickens' Great Expectations. And I'm like, hello, sir. How much? I'm thinking, like, this is going to be, like, $100 or something like that. And he's like, hello, sir. I'm, like, holding it tenderly like you would a child. How much for this book? And he's like, $2. I'm like, all right, sure, fine. Let's do it. And so I have this, like, relic of an older age. It was like a schoolhouse copy because it had like the names of all these students written in like the inside.
Okay.
Like, for me, the value of the book for me doesn't come from like the quality or what kind of book it is. I love it when people write in their books. Like, for example, I have this one book that I cherish. But it's like a, like Penguin edition, they're popular, they're like the Penguin Publishing House, it's mass market paperbacks and all that kind of stuff, right? Not worth much, but I have this one edition of a Penguin paperback from like 10 years ago, so not even that old, of a republished version of a guy sailing around the world in 1900. And inside it's like, happy birthday so-and-so, this'll, keep you company on your sailing travels and all that kind of stuff. And I just love stuff like that, Yeah, that's pretty much why I really, really like books, is that people can imprint themselves on them, and even, like, the authors, they took so much time to write them and put so much of their soul into it that it feels like, you're keeping, especially with the books that I collect old travelogues. That's kind of like my niche. I collect pretty much any and every book that interests me, but travelogues are my main thing. Like people going to different countries, and exploring and all that kind of stuff. And a lot of the books that I find are pretty much written by people who are nobodies historically. Like they wrote the book, and that's the only thing you could find online about them. Mm-hmm. But then they talk about like their lives and everything like that in the book, and it's like keeping their not necessarily memory alive, but it's like. It's very interesting, and also you get to see environments that aren't around anymore, Yeah. It's... I don't know. This is my passion for books coming out. Yeah.
I dig it. My lady I have some books, but not just these ones, but like more out there. Mm-hmm. And she's more of a book person. She doesn't even have all her books here. If we had enough space, she would have like a wall.
Oh, yeah. I definitely get that.
I dig it, man.
I have, not gonna lie, I do have a couple, like, vertical stacks of books because I don't have enough shelf space.
Yeah. Yeah, they get, collections can be a pain sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, don't even get me started. I've started reading some, like, manga and stuff like that. And, like, Chainsaw Man, Berserk and all that, and they all have, like, massive volumes that you have to get, and it's just... It's all about space when it comes to that kind of stuff.
That's it, man.
As you well know with your Batman memorabilia and everything. Oh,
do you want to do consoles next?
Yeah, sure.
Do you want to go first?
Oh boy, all right.
Do it up.
This is gonna be like, this is dating me so hard right now. So my number 5 pick is going to be the Wii.
Okay.
Like, people, it's like a childhood classic type of thing, It's like, you go to a friend's house in, like, grade 6 or 7, and no doubt they have a Wii. You play Rock Band, Guitar Hero, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my god, like, the memories I have of shredding on, I don't know, well, Eye of the Tiger is like a beginner's song, but like, Eye of the Tiger, I can play that song perfectly on, like, expert mode now, it's all the hand-eye coordination. And then, like, you have that one friend who has, like, the entire set, so the drums, the bass, the guitar, the microphone.
Yeah.
And then you all draw lots to see, like, who has to be the one to pick the microphone because nobody can sing.
Bro, I was always that guy. I was just like, I'll do it, guys. It's okay.
Yeah.
No one ever wanted to. Yeah. Can we do In Bloom again, guys?
Or, like, there was this one Beastie Boys song that we would always make the person singing sing. Because it was just straight up rap that you didn't really necessarily have to hit the notes, but, like...
Yeah.
It gave a lot more leniency. So that's my number 5. The number 4 is got to be the DS.
Okay.
It kind of, all the Pokemon games that I played were on the DS, all that kind of stuff. I stole my stepbrother's DS all the time, and I played Pokemon Pearl, and later on, Black and White. But definitely some of my memories will definitely be with the DS. And, yeah, jeez.
The regular DS, not the 3DS?
Oh, no. 3DS was too bougie for me. Too
All right.
Had the original, like, red DS,
Yeah.
Yeah. Then, funny enough, I went from DS to the Game Boy Advance.
Okay.
I got a Game Boy Advance for cleaning out a garage as payment. Because it was just in a box somewhere. And I was like, hey... check this out, Game Boy Advance. And the person I was cleaning out the garage was like, oh yeah, that's my son's. He moved out already. He probably isn't going to play it anymore.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is that it didn't come with a charger. There was 1 week where it was full battery that I just played it constantly. And then it died and it, yeah. I still need to get the charger for it.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah. Number 3 is going to be the Xbox 360.
All right.
It was my first, like... Wait, no. But the Xbox 360 definitely, like... I have so many memories playing, like, the original Call of Duty games on it and all that kind of stuff, Jeez, yeah. That Xbox, the 360 definitely holds a place in my heart for that. Number 2 is going to be the SNES. So many great games on it,
Yeah.
Super Mario World 2. We already talked about Shaq Fu, Street Fighter 2, Turbo, and, like, yeah, just so many good games on that console. And then finally with the PlayStation 2, that was my first console.
PlayStation 2. All right.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. First game for that was actually PGA Tour Golf for 2008.
Yo, I love golf games, dude.
Yeah,
I'm not even gonna lie.
That one was pretty good, not gonna lie, Then you got, like, the Lego games are classics.
Yeah.
I always love, like, the knockoff racing games. Like, I had the Hummer and the Corvette game. So you could only race Hummer cars, and you can only race Corvettes.
Oh, I don't think I played that one.
Then Need for Speed Underground 2 was one of my favorite, favorite racing games. Yeah, I was definitely like a racing game kid at the time, for sure.
I like that. Like, are you more arcade style, or are you like the Gran Turismo, like kind of like simulator racing? Because I've always preferred more arcade, and maybe it's just because I'm not super into, like, racing, but, they're just funner for me.
Yeah, now I've mostly moved towards kind of, like, the action type stuff.
Gotcha.
But whenever I do racing, I feel like
Go on. Sorry.
No, that was a good one. I will admit. Now when I do kind of racing stuff, either I go back to the classics, like... the classic arcade. I don't feel like there's many good arcade racing games nowadays.
No, I stopped playing Need for Speed. I'm trying to think of, like, the last racing game I got, to be honest. I honestly... Yeah. It's been a while.
Like, I think the last arcade one that I played was, like, Need for Speed Carbon for the Xbox.
Okay, see, I didn't even play that. I fell off after Shift, Shift 2. And I was kind of like, I think I'm done.
Like, recently I've tried playing Forza Horizon.
Okay.
Because I feel like that might be, like, the best it's like a hybrid between arcade and realistic. You can do realistic if you want to, or arcade if you want to. Then also I kind of just like the customizability of the cars.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no one's gonna stop me from putting a 7.4 liter engine into a mini Cooper and have it go like 200 miles per hour down the freeway, and I can't even turn because it's going so fast. Type of situation, I like screwing around every now and then with the cars in that game for sure. What about you? What do you think your top 5 is?
Okay, so I'd say I just got it for Christmas, and my lady got it for me. But the Series X, man, that's my number one. And I'm not really like the guy who's like, oh, Xbox is so much better than PlayStation. It's just what I got, and like I like it because like the load times are just almost instant, bro. I can play the like same game on this versus the Xbox One, because I have an Xbox One in the bedroom, and like oh my god, it's almost instant, dude, for like just really big games, and I enjoy how it looks. I got a new TV like the last year, maybe the year before, and it has like like 4K stuff, and it's like I finally have a system that like it's I don't know, man. This is like what it's meant to be seen on, versus like I remember way back in the day, man. Like I was playing True Story N64. I remember playing on like a black and white TV.
Oh yeah.
Like there was just like certain times where it's like, oh, I have a really good system, my TV shit, or like. And now I feel like it's the perfect combination of TV and system, and I got the one with the disc drive because I like discs. I like collecting the games that I like.
I am like I completely get you. I'm a hardcore like I cannot do digital stuff. I have to if the chance is taken to if there's a physical option, I will take the physical option.
Yeah,
always.
That's how I am too.
And also, it looks really good on a shelf.
It does, and like right now, I only have like 3 games specifically for this. All my other ones are Xbox One, but it will grow. It will grow.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So yeah, that's my number 1. Then I'm going N64. That's my number 2.
Yeah, it's a class. Like you can't go wrong with the N64.
It's the game changer, I felt like, for me anyway. I remember like they were being, before it was actually released, there being like super huge lineups in like Walmart just to like test out Super Mario 64.
Yeah, like it was like 3D graphics and everything like that, right? Like there wasn't anything of that quality until then, and it definitely would have been on my list if it weren't for the Wii.
That's fair.
Yeah,
I just got this a few years ago actually. So it's been nice. There's still a bunch of games that I want to get.
What do you think is your favorite game on there?
On the 64?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I really like Perfect Dark. And I really... Like Super Smash is a good game. I really think Mario 64 is classic.
Yeah.
Man. Then there's so many good ones, dude. But as far as like a hidden gem... there was this, it was kind of like a 3D platform game with Daffy Duck. It's called like Duck Dodgers, something cosmic, something or other. And it was like a space thing with him. And I thought that was really good. That's like one of the most expensive games on my list right now of like games I want to get. But yeah, probably that one. The favorite one I have, Perfect Dark.
Yeah.
And then I'm going Sega. That was the first system I had, like the Sega Genesis, and came with Sonic 2. And I mean, I could probably beat Sonic 2 is amazing. Oh my god,
like
so much fun.
One of the all-time greats of video games for sure.
I'm a big Sonic. I'm like Sonic and Mario. Those are like I love those kind of old school.
Oh,
I prefer more. I'm not like a first-person shooter. There's a few that I do like, but I feel like there's a certain style of like gaming. Like when people are like, oh yeah, I game. It's like always like Fortnite or some sort of like shooting thing, and I'm like, just.
Are you a platformer kind of guy?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Banjo-Kazooie type stuff?
Banjo-Kazooie, like Rayman.
Rayman.
That kind of stuff. Even there was a really good one called Unravel that EA did, and it was like this guy he was a guy made of yarn. His name was Yarny.
Oh, yes, I am. I think I know what you're talking about.
God, yeah, I'm just very big on like that kind of stuff. And like, I would say mostly platform.
Well, since you do have the Xbox, have you ever played It Takes Two?
Oh no, I haven't played that yet.
That'd be really, really good. It's a couch co-op.
It is good?
Oh yeah, I've been playing with Hannah.
Oh shoot.
Yeah, it's really, really fun because like it's all teamwork and everything like that. You have to solve puzzles together.
Yeah,
It's really, really fun. Yeah,
I like that. There was another it's only co-op.
Yeah,
the game is
much.
only co-op.
Yeah.
There was another one called like No Way Out. I want to say.
Yes, it's like the Prison Break.
Yes.
Yes, it's the same people who made that. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, cool, man!
Yeah.
That was a really good game. I'm gonna check that out. It Takes Two, eh?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Then I'm going NES.
Of course.
Classic.
And
then I go Super NES, SNES.
Mm-hmm.
That'll probably be my fifth.
Yeah.
And then, like, man, I have a really soft spot for the Atari, too.
Oh, yeah.
Because I remember my aunt had one, and, like, I didn't really know what it was. I remember the first time she, like, showed it to me. She was like, oh, I have an Atari. And I thought she was talking about, like, a guitar.
Oh,
and I was,
boy.
like, super young, right?
Yeah.
And I was just like, well, I don't know how to play guitar, and Mark, blah, blah, blah. And she, like, brought me in and just, like, turned Space Invaders on, and I, like, Yeah. First game I ever played, probably video game I ever played, was, like, Space Invaders for Atari, so.
I definitely understand what you mean. My grandparents had, like, not consoles, they were relatively anti-video game, you know how kind of, like, baby boomers can be anti-video game.
Yeah.
But, they had, I still don't know the name of it, but they had this one game on floppy disk for their home computer that whenever I was at their place, they would sit me down in front of the computer and put in the floppy disk, and it was like some horror-themed platformer game.
Yeah, eh?
Yeah.
Huh.
And the funny thing was, I was so young, I called it the hard game.
The hard game.
Because I would always lose.
Gotcha.
And I was like, hey, Grandpa, can I play the hard game? And he's like, yeah, sure. He just set me down for like 5 hours, and there we go. And that pretty much, that was the first, I think that was the first video game that I played too.
Dope. Floppy disk games, bro.
Yeah.
That's wild.
I haven't even seen a floppy disk in like...
so long, dude.
10 years, I guess.
I saw actually recently, this is like, just talking about like older things, this rapper like put out an album, and it was on like a USB key, but the USB key was like tucked into like a cassette tape.
Oh.
So like it came and it looked just like it, but instead of film underneath, you pulled out the USB key.
Nice.
And it was just, I thought that was really cool.
Oh, that's really
I kind of
smart.
like when they kind of, do things like that.
Don't get me started about cassette tapes. I was the kind of kid who brought a Walkman to school.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah.
Like, I actually collected...
But the thing was, I feel like when you were doing it, there, like, iPods were a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was different for you.
Yeah, no, I even made mixtapes.
Dope, dude.
And I had, like, to the extent, I did it so backwards that I bought an actual full tape deck and everything. Bought an adapter for, like, the two, the red and white cable that you would use to plug in, like, speakers and stuff like that to a tape deck. I bought an adapter for a 3.5 millimeter thing so I could plug in my phone, play the music off of Spotify onto the tape. Yeah, I was that kind of kid. Very, like, yeah.
I dig it. Have you ever made Hannah mixtape?
Yes, I have.
Yes,
when we first started dating.
I felt like you had.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that shit.
The funny thing is, I gave it to her. What am I going to do with this? I don't have a tape deck. No. That's a joke, but I let her borrow my cassette. My cassette player, my Walkman. Oh, jeez.
That's awesome. You guys are a great couple, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
That's awesome, though. I could totally, If you hadn't, I would have been mad, bro. Get to it, eh?
No, for sure,
why are you still with them, Hannah? What do we have? John Carpenter movies.
Oh,
Let's end with that, bro.
All right. Do you want to go first?
All right, I'll go first.
Yeah.
Village of the Damned.
Oh, I haven't seen that one yet.
Oh.
Good?
Yeah, it's the kind, like that, yeah. It's a very, very creepy movie. I don't know. I know you're more of a John Carpenter fan. So, like, I don't know exactly what ones are, like, his hits, I guess, So, but for me, Escape from L.A.
Oh yeah,
that's a good one.
That's a classic of his.
That's a gem.
Like Escape from L.A., Escape from New York are just like, top tier.
Ghosts of Mars is my number 3.
Oh, okay. Now that's like a cult classic right there.
Yeah.
Not like, it's very, very cool that you said that out of all of his stuff, because like, not many people know about Ghost of Mars. So that's
I don't know why.
That's really cool. Yeah.
I don't know why. They Live.
Oh, of course. Yes. I came here to kick ass and chew bubblegum and all load of bubblegum.
And it's funny because I only really watched that movie for the first time, like 5 or 6 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And my buddy showed me that clip of like Roddy Piper, and I was like, "Hey, check this shit out." And like, it's just the right amount of like cheese. Obviously, like the time it comes from, like movies were different, but like I like that. I like a little bit of cheese. You know what I mean?
I feel like that's like John Carpenter's vibe.
Yeah.
Know?
Oh
like,
yeah.
Just like he can be like very, very good, but with an amount of cheese that like makes it perfect. A good amount of ripe cheese.
And then Escape from New York. That's my number 5.
Yes. Oh, okay. Yeah. Definitely. I'll do my number 1 first. This one's also a little bit of a cult classic of his. It's In the Mouth of Madness.
Oh, haven't seen it.
It's really good. It's with Sam Neill, from Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, it's based off of like H.P. Lovecraft kind of cosmic horror type stuff.
Okay.
It centers around like a Sam Neill. He plays like an insurance guy, and there is a book publishing company. Their like main author is supposed to be like, the author is supposed to be like a combination of H.P. Lovecraft and Stephen King. Like he's a famous horror author, and he just disappears off the face of the earth. And Sam Neill has to go and find him, and he finds himself trapped in a town where all of the horror characters from this horror author's like catalog come alive. Yeah. And he has to survive in this town, and he has to try and find this horror author. So it's a very, very good, probably one of my favorite movie of all time, honestly.
All right.
And I'm not even like a big horror guy, but this is like my favorite movie as a horror, funny enough. Second one is got to be The Thing.
Yeah.
Like,
that's a good one.
Classic, yeah, jeez. Third is, the classic love story between a boy and his car, Christine.
yeah, okay.
With the haunted car. Just the one thing that or one of many things that I love about John Carpenter is his use of special effects and practical effects specifically, With The Thing, there's the crazy amount of like animatronics and practical effects that they use to create the alien. Like, the one scene... Have you seen The Thing?
The Thing? Yeah.
The scene where he's trying to... or the doctor is trying to jumpstart the guy's heart, and he doesn't know that the guy who's supposedly dead is actually The Thing. And he, puts the defibrillators down on his chest, but the guy's chest opens up and swallows his arms and rips them off. Like... The amount of work that was, that went into that scene alone is absolutely insane.
I miss that kind of stuff too, man. I'm going to be honest. CGI really can be just, I don't know, a bit much sometimes.
I feel like movies today, they tend to lean on CGI because it's cheaper, because they can underpay the CGI, the special effects people and everything like that. And there is a proper way to use CGI, and it's like as a tool, everything... CGI, practical effects, is like a tool in your toolbox, right? And there are, as with everything, there are times to use it and times not to use it. Some people like to decry CGI as like completely inferior to practical effects, but there are times when CGI can enhance a scene the way that practical effects can't. Best example is like Mad Max Fury Road, right? In regards to not even like the amazing scene in the sandstorm, with the hurricane or the tornadoes and all that kind of stuff whipping people up. But, like, smaller things, too, like, a fair amount of the sand that does get whipped around is CGI, or even, like, color grading and all that kind of stuff all kind of falls under the CGI umbrella. That, while most of it is practical effects, it is enhanced by CGI. Anyways, sorry, that's, like, my spiel.
No, it's cool, man. And I also think like from like an actor's perspective too, just like it's got to be harder to commit when you're just surrounded by green.
Definitely, like there was a story of, is it Ian McKellen who plays Gandalf?
Yeah, I believe so.
When he like compared to him filming the original Lord of the Rings, which was all like practical effects, to The Hobbit, which was CGI. I remember there was a quote saying that like he had a real hard time kind of trying to get in this character when everything is just a blue, blue screen or green screen and all that kind of stuff. But my original point with practical effects is the scene in Christine where the guy smashes the car and then it heals from its wounds, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And like the soundtrack, the way that the practical effects work, just completely masterful use of that kind of practical effects. My number 4 pick would be Halloween. Like, it pretty much started the slasher genre of movies. You can't go wrong with that kind of stuff. It's Hannah's favorite movie, so we watched it.
Halloween is?
Yeah.
Okay.
One of her favorite movies.
She's gonna be mad it's not on my list, isn't she?
Oh no, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. But like, and also Michael Myers. Like, I just find it so funny that the famous mask is just a William Shatner mask,
right? That
they painted white.
Right.
Just
it's
like,
so cool.
Hey, go to a department store, pick up any mask, whatever. We'll figure it out afterwards. And they pick up a Captain James T. Kirk mask, shave off the hair, spray paint it white, and there we go. You got one of the most famous villains in horror and movies in general. And then my number 5 pick is Big Trouble in Little China.
Okay, I haven't seen that one either.
It's a very interesting movie because it's the one movie that like dissuaded John Carpenter from like Hollywood and everything like that. Afterwards, he went completely independent, and it's like a spoof on like the old John Wayne non-westerns from like the 1950s and 60s. Mm-hmm. So like, oh crud, I forget the actor's name. He's pretty much in all of John Carpenter's stuff. Like Escape from New York and L.A.
Kurt Russell?
Kurt Russell, thank you, yeah. He pretty much plays a trucker who does not know what the fuck is going on. Mm-hmm. And he's just led through this like crazy fantasy, action scenario. And he's just like a down-to-earth trucker guy who, like, he's just caught up in this whirlwind type of situation. I really like those kind of movies where the main character is the main character, but he's not necessarily the most important. He's just like, they're being led through the story, and they don't know what the hell is going on. They just know to shoot, punch, or whatever. It's kind of a funny satire of those kinds of movies from like the 50s and 60s. So yeah, no, that's my list of.
I dig it. Have you seen Everything Everywhere All at Once? Have you seen that?
Yes.
Yeah.
I loved that movie.
Great.
Like, absolutely amazing. And I wish I knew the actor's name, but he played the husband of the main character.
Yes, I know. I don't know his name, but I know who you're talking about. Yes.
And just like his comeback and all that kind of stuff after not having acted in 2 years, and also like everybody else in that movie was absolutely amazing. Like,
yeah,
I forget her name.
Michelle, is it Michelle something?
Yeah, I think
the main lady.
Yeah, the main lady.
Yeah,
but
she was Michelle something.
Absolutely amazing.
That's what I want to say.
Like, definitely like deserved the Oscars that they won and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
It was a pretty cool movie, very out there. I like weird movies.
I do too, man. Yeah. I do too, and I'm like watching it and trying to like explain at least what my take is from the movie to my lady as we're watching and be like, what's that? And there was just a lot of like original concepts in the movie that I felt like it wasn't necessarily like the multiverse thing is like very common right now, I want to say, but like their take on it was so original. Like
the way that you're kind of like able to adapt.
Yeah, and how you like get to different things, and it's like, all right, you gotta fucking put your finger in your butthole, or like just some weird stuff. Like I just thought it was so cool. Man.
Yeah, like the whole probability matrix or whatever. Like if you do something equally as unlikely to happen, that's how you. Yeah, man, it's such a novel way, like a novel, a good take on the multiverse kind of thing.
Yeah, we need more of that.
Yes.
Like, more fresh ideas like that.
We
I wonder how long it took to make that movie. To, like, write that movie.
Oh, boy,
I want to look into that.
I would love to, like, see a making-of documentary.
Yeah, that would be good, dude.
Yeah. Definitely up there. For sure.
All right, homie.
All right.
Let's end with one of these. You pick one, I'll pick one. Boom.
All right.
Okay. Do you want to go first? I can go first if you want.
Yeah, sure. You can go first.
Okay. Describe one of your favorite teachers or coaches and what made them outstanding.
Oh, boy. All right. I think there's this one teacher in high school. I'm very bad with names. Her name is escaping me right now, but she taught history, and I feel like that was definitely. Sorry, what was the question again?
Okay, describe one of your favorite teachers or coaches and what made them outstanding.
Oh yeah, I love it when teachers like put passion in it. Like you know that they're passionate about the subjects that they're teaching, right? And especially if you are passionate in that subject too. So, like, of course, I'm a big history nerd or whatever. And this teacher, she, like, really put effort into, like, making all of her lessons kind of very approachable, you know? Like, it wasn't just, like, reading from a textbook or anything like that. Like, it was full PowerPoint presentations, kind of, like, putting things into modern terms so that people could kind of understand the historiography of everything, like where everything placed in history relating to events and all that kind of stuff. Like we learned about the Renaissance and how patronage from different like important families in Italy related to like art and how that relates to today and all that kind of stuff. It's very, very interesting. I was not a teacher's pet. I swear to God, I was not a teacher's pet. But she did send an email to one of my parents saying that I could teach the class for a day if I wanted to, like that kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that was really, really cool. How about you? Do you think?
I'm gonna say somebody the most recent, I will say. His name's Nick Andrew. He's a professional wrestler. He also works for WWE, and he's a teacher for like elementary school students.
Okay.
He was a coach when I first got into refereeing. He was the coach at the place I was training at, Battle Arts. You know Battle Arts. Do you know Nick?
Wait, Nick?
Do you know Nick?
Yeah.
You do know Nick.
I'm pretty sure I know Nick.
Yeah, fuck. I was just like, oh, wait, you might know him, actually. Yeah.
That's Nick, yeah.
Nick Andrew.
Yeah.
From fucking Battle Arts. Asylum. Freaking
yes,
The
Of
Adventurer.
course, yes. Of course I know
him.
Nick.
That is my guy.
Hell
he
yeah.
is, like, especially... And, like, this is kind of new, but also just, like, even outside of wrestling, I find him inspirational in that he does everything that he loves to do.
Yeah.
And he somehow manages to, like, do everything and, like, still be a good person and just an honest person. I don't know, like, even... Okay, so I got Hannah to design a shirt for me, I think, late last year.
Yeah.
And I've kind of been, like, on the fence about, like, making it because just how wrestlers are and me being a ref, and I don't want to... Like, I'm the third guy. I'm not the important guy. I'm not trying, but, like... Just recently was, like, chatting with him and Tarek about just, like... He's just someone whose opinion I value. I'm definitely going to be getting the shirts made. He's like, oh, you're going to get some heat. Some people are going to... You know, you're definitely going to get some people like, you're a ref, man. What are you doing? But, like, just do it. And, like, that's who I would say.
For sure. Like, in my interactions with him, he's definitely, like... He's a very, very nice guy. Very cool individual, you know? I haven't talked with him too much, but, like, in the times that I have, very, very...
And, like, man, I've met, like, wrestler... Like, as far as what he's, like, who he is and what he's accomplished in his life, lots of people with those kind of accolades, let's say, they would have way bigger egos than he does.
Oh, yeah.
You know? And, like, I've met people that don't have, like, a quarter of what he has, and they think they're big shit, you know?
Oh,
like,
jeez, yeah.
I work with people at my fucking restaurant that are like, oh, I just got supervisor position, and they just talk down to everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Like, people just, you know? So it's really nice to see someone like that and be humble and actually try to, like, help the younger generation, you know?
Yeah, wow.
It's admirable, very admirable. But Nick Andrew, dude, that's my answer. All right, what you got?
All right, I got, is there anyone you consider family even though you're not blood relatives?
Oh, yeah, I'm not close with my family at all.
Yeah.
So basically, like, anyone I call family isn't my family.
Yeah.
Like, for real, dude. Like, I'm not... I don't talk to, like, anybody in my family, really. Like, have a couple aunts and stuff on Facebook, but... No, I was raised in foster homes and stuff, so...
Oh, yeah.
My family, like, even, like, when I say, like, my brothers, I'm generally referring to, like, my foster brothers.
Yeah.
And, like, yeah. That's about it. Basically, like, my closest friends are the people I consider family. My buddy Steve, I would consider him family.
Oh, yeah.
You know, my ladies now, my family, you know, and we're going to have our own family. I don't know.
Yeah, that's...
But pretty much everyone I consider family isn't actually blood related. So
Yeah, fair enough. Jeez.
What about you?
I have one best friend. We've been together, like, been friends for the longest time that I consider my brother, pretty much, you know? Like, I do have two half-brothers related by blood, but they grew up in Florida while I was here in Toronto, so I don't even, like... I've talked to them a couple times, but it's not, like, brotherly type situation like I have with my best friend, pretty much.
Gotcha.
And then obviously, like, you know, Hannah and everything. Like, I consider her family at this point, you know?
Yeah.
I don't want to divulge too much, but, like, things haven't been the best with my parents, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So, definitely, Hannah has definitely helped me with that. And the other friends that I have throughout my life, I definitely do consider family.
Right on.
Yeah, but shout out to Oliver in Halifax.
Ollie in Hallie.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Imagine you have all the money you will ever need. How will you spend your time?
Oh, boy. Not gonna lie, I have thought about it a lot. Mm-hmm. The dream. I mean, who does?
Right?
Does
Yeah, come on.
If I had $1 billion, if I
right.
had all the money in the world, I think I would buy a house either on the East Coast or in Scotland or something like that. Like, you know, somewhere rocky and on the ocean, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry. And then, like, again, unlimited money. I would have a massive library. And a seaplane. That's the one thing I want.
Seaplane.
I want
Right.
Like, you ever play in the Uncharted games?
No.
There's a character that lives in a seaplane and travels around the world in a seaplane, and that's like, you know, that sounds like the dream, you know?
All right.
I would have all my camera equipment. I want to travel the world, take photos, all that kind of stuff, for sure, for sure. What do you think? What do you think?
Okay, so here's the thing, like, I would still do comedy, I would still do reffing, I would still do things that, you know, bring money into my life, but like, as far as, like, I know I went to school for culinary stuff, bro, but like, my 9 to 5 would be gone.
Oh, yeah.
I would buy a house somewhere far away from the city.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. When I lived in BC, I lived on like 140 acre property, bro. I was surrounded by just like trees and
so
shit
nice,
and nature, right? And like, that's kind of where I want to be. But like, obviously I do, you know, comedy and stuff, so just close enough to get to the city.
I understand that the conflict, like growing up in the country, that's the one thing that I miss is like waking up with a deer in your backyard.
Yeah.
You know, like that, but also I like the city so much and how like, how close you are to everything and how much stuff there is to do.
I feel like people are more open-minded in cities, too.
Oh, for sure.
For
sure.
Yeah.
Growing up in Greeley, Greeley, Ontario. Oh, yeah, bud, you know. Oh, yeah, let's go smoke a couple of darts out back, you know. Take our sleds out.
They really talk like that.
Oh, yeah.
It's not a joke.
Like, literally, every time I go back home, I slip into the accent. Like, this is my city accent. Oh yeah, you know, I start drawling a little bit. You know, rural Ontarian accent is real. Like Letterkenny, literally.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, geez, like the place that I went to high school, people would go to prom on hay bale, like in tractors type of situation.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, and that was like those are the cool kids.
Oh yeah. Oh no, the cool kids had skidoos. They rode their skidoos to school.
Oh, look at that!
So,
super fancy.
Yeah, like,
I've never been on a snowmobile in my life, bro.
Like I got my snowmobile license before I got my driver's license.
Shit, snowmobile above forklift. What we just discovered. Let's be real. Come on.
Yeah, but you can also do some sick tricks on a forklift. Let's not lie, all right? Off-roading on a forklift, man. Woo! It's a whole other ballpark, a whole other game. Yeah, no. All right, I guess I'll do my my question.
Yes, sir.
So, this one's gonna be easy for you. Do you remember the last time you were on a stage? Have you ever been on stage often?
Oh, fuck. Okay. Yeah. I honestly, yeah, I'm just gonna say something because I could say obvious answer.
No,
but
yeah.
the last show, honest to God, the last Lafiteria, where we had to like bring up extra seats and stuff. Man, I had
that was amazing.
It was one of the best shows I think I've ever produced. Even though it wasn't the biggest crowd, like I've done like Comedy Bar and sold that room out like 90 plus people, but the energy and like everything on the last show like just felt so.
It was perfect.
It did feel perfect. The crowd was there. It was damn near perfect, man. And like I had been going through a couple shitty shows leading up until then, and like as any kind of like art form, the artist or you know whatever, I would imagine has doubts at some points, and I had just been through like a rough doubt valley, if you will, and was just kind of like, why am I even doing this in my mind? You know, running through all that shit. Like, am I wasting my time? And then it was just really nice, and I'm taking some time off.
Okay.
So, well, this is coming out in a bit, so I probably am in the middle of taking the time off when this comes out.
Oh, there we go.
That will be the last show that I'm doing for a bit. There will be one more Lafiteria that has happened on May 6th. But I'm not going to be hosting that one. Or I didn't host that one. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. It was like a shot in the arm for you, you know? Right? Like, a good, amazing show to coast you into paternity leave.
Yes, that's it, bro. That's it.
Good shit.
Anything for you?
Oh, boy, I can't remember the last time I was on stage. Like, that would have been high school or whatever. I didn't even get a graduation.
Oh, no?
Because of COVID and all that kind of stuff.
That sucks, dude.
Yeah. It was literally just like, oh, you're going home for March break. And then, oh, yeah, March break's just going to be the rest of the year. So, that's man, wild. I can't remember the last time I was on stage. It might have been one of my concert photography gigs, I guess. But, yeah, no.
All right. Well, that's fair.
Yeah,
not everyone goes on stage a lot, but we'll get out of here, bro. You can let these people know where to get at you if you'd like.
Oh, geez. Yeah, no, I have Instagram. It's Aadan Joly Photography. Same thing for a website, but you could find my website on the Instagram too. So be sure to check that out. I don't post too much, but I'm sure to start that back up again. Yeah, thanks for having me. Jeez.
No problem, man. I'll attach a link for your website in the YouTube bio. I feel like they don't do it for iTunes and Spotify and that stuff, but click it on YouTube. Definitely follow this guy. He's a great dude. Thank you for being here, man.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
Appreciate you. Like always, podcast is brought to you by Neon Light District. Hit them up. Use code PillowTalk to save 10%. And by the Great North Apparel. Hit them up. Use code PillowTalk to save 30%. Peace the fuck out.